All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Slim Nation's One on Ones podcast. I'm Slim Overton, of course, and I'm here with a special guest. And I'm glad I was able to get him. He's one of the busiest guys in the city of Portsmouth, but aren't we all? So his name is Germain Geene, and a lot of you might know him. You have to know him because I'll tell you one thing. I started following him some years back, and this was kind of before I even knew his relationship with my classmate Larry Gish, who we graduated together and grew up together. But when I found that out, it was quite a surprise, but a pleasant surprise. But anyway, I started following you, Jermaine, when sometime back when you were doing lives out of your shop, and you had a combination of comedy and some serious subjects, just pretty much like you do now, which is
Yeah.
why I wanted to have a conversation with you because you hit on some great topics and you're out there in the community, you're doing the work, boots on the ground, which we need a lot. We need a lot of that nationally, but your boots on the ground and you support people who need support and let me tell you about one of the situations I saw you when you were doing it out the shop. And you might remember this. You were doing things out the shop, and you would come up with different things. That outfit you wore one night, that onesie you put on one time. But anyway, I'm talking about the time you pull up to somebody's house and you put the camera in the windshield, and it was like the guy owed you money, and you went out there and punched the guy. Okay. And I kind of knew that was staged, because I said, now he's not going to put himself in that position. But you scared some people to the point where they reported it to the police because I guess they thought they were next. But anyway, that was just a part of some of the things you were doing back then. It even had candidates where you were interviewing candidates, Mark Whitaker and Mark Adolji Kotarski. And so you had a sort of a mix. And then today I went back looking at some of your videos. You had what you got, about 3,000 videos out there?
I
I
got
didn't
a
know
lot
you
of
had.
videos, man. I got a lot of videos.
So
And
I wanted to ask you, what is your motivation? Because you got experience. You're still a young man, but you got some experience that qualifies you to be able to give your opinions, and people want to hear it. People listen because you come straight forward. Uh, you don't hold back on anything about your life or how you feel about certain issues or how you feel about certain people. And I respect that. And a lot of people respect that. They like straight shooters. So I want to ask you, what was your motivation? You started way back then, and then you sort of uh, roll into this community activist as well, doing things for people, doing things for the community and things like that. I want to start with your motivation, because you were educated in the city of Portsmouth, and I can't remember that school you went to. I don't know if it still
I went I
exists.
went to I went to Craddock for
Oh,
four and a half years, and I graduated from Wilson.
okay. So Craddock was in Portsmouth, right? It
Yeah,
was
Craddock had eighth grade back then, so
somewhere.
that's what yeah. I got to
I'm
say
not
that because somebody say, last time I said that I did 4.5 years or 5 years at Craddock, they say, yeah, he must have failed. Well, Craddock and Wilson had eighth grade high school back in
Yeah.
80s and 90s, so well, man, you know, uh, my motivation for those videos is more like a method. It was more like a method to my madness. You know, when you start understanding business and start understanding your people and what make them tick and what make them move. So,
Madness. You know, when you start understanding business. Sorry about
that,
that.
that's okay.
Go
You
ahead.
got a cricket phone? That's a cricket phone. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I gotta make a payment. Go
that's
ahead.
right. I can dig it. So, with me, man, it was real simple for me, James. I understood business, what I mean, to the form of, to the point of the marketing. I always had service. I sold cars, and more importantly, I ran a repair shop for 11 years and didn't know how to work on cars. But one thing I
I remember
understood that,
I remember you saying that one time, and had a successful business, man, and
yeah,
you
I
you
did.
had good people working for you, and but I saw you go out there sometimes, and they say, well, what do you think I should do about this, and you would give you advice, but I guess that came with doing that for 11 years. You didn't
Yeah,
have going into it, you didn't have that knowledge. You didn't take it in high school, I, they didn't offer anything like that, but that wasn't something that you took up. You just
yeah. Well,
went along with the flow.
here's the thing. Experience is the best teacher. But
Yeah.
I understood that I wasn't known for cars, and when I first started selling cars, I quickly got a name for myself right here in the city of Portsmouth for selling lemons. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, because I started selling cars out the front of the house, and my cars was only good as those mechanics. You get the mechanics fixed on your car, you think your car is good to go. You sell it to a couple of customers, and before you know, boom, voila, you just sold a limit. So,
Hmm.
so I did kind of get that fall under that stigma some years back. So
So how did you maintain business? You
well,
started
well,
out selling
well,
lemons. So
well, this was before I got a repair shop.
oh, okay.
So when I end up publishing a book, I was still selling cars, working at the auction, and I end up saving my money and publishing a book. And I made a lot of money self-publishing. I traveled up and down the East Coast, put my books in mom and pop stores, and even when I was home, I would sit out Victory Crossing and go to Walmarts, and and I would get a little team and I would sell my book. And once I was able to save up money from selling books, I started a car lot. And once I started that car lot, I'm selling cars over there in Hampton, over there in Albert Aberdeen. And one tax season, I'm gonna say 2011,
Mhm.
2010, 2011, I had 20 something $1,000 in receipts, because that was one of the things I learned from federal penitentiary. Save your receipts, because if you want to see where your money goes, save your receipts. So I would save my receipts for fast food, how much I paid in bills, and I kept the same method when I was selling cars. I would save receipts and cars, and I was putting a lot of motors and transmissions and oil chains, and at the end of tax season, I looked at my receipts and I had almost $40,000 in repairs and receipts. And I said, I'm in the wrong business. So I took a couple of backyard mechanics that was really, really good, and started this repair shop. And business was slow because I didn't really know anything about repair shops and mechanic work. I just knew I had some guys that was really, really good, and I needed to market behind them. So voila, Facebook became my target audience. So I would do these videos, and do these crazy antics, and and give off high energy, loud and obnoxious, and yelled, and do all this crazy stuff. And I built a platform, but what my Facebook audience didn't know, I was actually creating I was actually creating a consumer base for customers,
Yeah.
because
Even your language was a part of your persona.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I mean, that was associated with you, and it's
yeah,
very
right.
colorful, and people appreciated that part too because it just seemed so real,
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
out like that, and you see a
yeah.
lot of that today.
Once again, I got to say this for your viewers. Product had 5 years of high school: 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I took 5 years of drama. I'm a pretty good actor.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Listen, I'm a
I
pretty.
figured that. I was wondering if you were a stand-up comedian, because I got those
Listen.
vibes as well.
I may have missed my call, and I
Yeah,
think about it all the time. I'm in touch with a lot of comedians, but I just think it's a greater purpose than me standing on stage. But I really, and I'm gonna tell you why you say that, James. And I know this. I have a way with words. I have a way
yeah,
with storytelling. I know I can be charismatic. I can talk about these headphones and hold people's attention. And it's not by accident. It's something that
yeah.
is, I know it's a skill, and I'm really good at it. And it helped me feed my family, because all of my Facebook antics and these lives, it drew in customers. People would inbox me and say, "Hey, I got a car that need fixed," or "Oh, can you fix this? Hey, you got
Mhm.
cars for sale." And it lasted for over a decade. And people, people didn't understand. Hey, they excuse my name. They said, "Hey, that nigga crazy. Oh, I don't mess with him. He gonna embarrass me on Facebook." I mean, they had no idea that Jermaine Greene here is not social media Jermaine Greene. Jermaine Greene social media is one hell of an actor.
Yeah.
Now,
And
I have to say this.
go
I
ahead.
have to
Go ahead.
say this. The video you opened up with me beating up my mechanic, that is a real video. He was on
Oh,
drugs at the time, and he sold my tools to a mechanic I went a repair shop I went to school with. I did go to jail, and I didn't get a bond for a couple of days, so I had to retire from that because the city of Portsmouth does not give bonds. If you break skin, bloody nose, they call it malicious wounded. They don't call it assault no more. So I had to leave that alone. But yes, that
okay.
was a
So
real
that was
that was
real. I thought,
that was
at
real.
first I thought it was real, and I said, okay.
Yeah.
After I saw a few more of your videos, I said, okay, that one that had to be a setup because why would he film it? But I guess you were sending a message to anybody else,
It was a dumb message. It wasn't the smartest thing I did on social
right?
media. Yeah, but the good thing is that mechanic did end up getting off of drugs after almost 9 years of me helping, and now he's on his feet. He's a hell of a mechanic, and he don't do no work for me.
Yeah.
Voila! He don't even answer the
So
phone half the
yeah,
time.
you knocked some sense into him. You knocked some
Yeah,
sense into him.
no,
I want
yeah,
to say
yeah.
two things. Two things. I noticed watching your videos. I noticed the technique. You said you had a lot of acting classes and experience. I noticed the technique because how you know how to hold the audience. Because you will start off talking and you say, "Listen," and you'll pause, and then you keep people wondering, okay, what is he going to say next? And I know that's actually a technique. That's how, if you go right into talking, you know, you might lose the people or something like that, but you can hold them by making them anticipate what you're going to say.
Exactly. Hey,
That's a,
hey, listen, that's you're actually correct. You're
mm,
correct. But more importantly, when I was in penitentiary, I did because I have no problem telling people that I did time in federal penitentiary because that's where I became educated, enlightened, and more importantly, I matured not as a person but as a man. And I matured as a father, and I matured emotionally and financially. I matured all the way around the board. So I
mm,
always speak that energy into people because for me, it was one step of life lessons. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'll always say that.
yeah,
Yeah. So to get to the original point, which I totally just lost focus off of,
oh,
what was I saying? That's my old age. That's my old age kicking in. What was we talking about? I got a habit of doing that.
yeah.
Oh,
And I wanted to go here too because a lot of people I do on the one-on-ones, everybody, I can always take them back to their younger days and and find out influences that they had when they were younger that sort of drove them to do certain things. Even though you had that stint in the penitentiary for whatever for whatever reason, when you got out, I mean, you showed that it's life after penitentiary for one thing, but that entrepreneurial spirit you had, that had to start much earlier too. At least observing when kids are young, they observe a lot. And at least observing other people and seeing things. I want to do that. And you just got off track for a minute, but when you got back on track, you still had that entrepreneurial spirit or something that you saw when you were a young kid that sort of that's driving you today. Am I
well,
correct with that?
listen. Yeah, man. Yeah, let me elaborate on that.
Sure.
Um, yeah, I developed the hustling spirit or the entrepreneur spirit at a young age because I got tired of being hungry. I mean,
Mm,
like, most of these kids don't understand how the '80s was, man. Like, it was a lot of hunger days, and I'm sure it was before my time, probably even your time too.
mhm,
And I just wanted to get out and do something. So at the time, my mom and my father divorced divorced, and but just to give you a backstory, I was born in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh,
My
okay.
yeah. So my dad and my mom, they got married, and we migrated to a couple of countries because he was in the military, and we ended up here. And the relationship didn't work out. I won't go in there. That's a whole nother story. The relationship didn't work. And I say this all the time in a joking manner. He kind of dropped us off here, and we've been here ever since. Even though his family was here, he dropped out. He dropped us off here, and he went on up to Indiana, Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's been there ever since. And I, I'll be honest with you, man. Since that divorce, I mean, like, our family struggled. I
Mm.
mean, um, we um we got put out. Excuse me, I'm trying not to cuss on your platform because I know
So
your
you,
platform. Yeah, but yeah,
you
listen,
can go ahead. I just want you to be you.
okay, I appreciate it.
Mm.
We got put out of every neighborhood. Chesapeake, Holly Cove,
No,
Chesapeake
what?
Town, Cavalier Manor, Academy Park,
All the
Prentice
hot
Park.
spots.
Man, yeah, I mean, but I mean, these were some, yeah, pretty much. And the thing is, just for me, like we we got all these neighborhoods that have neighborhood reunions, and I go to all of them because guess what? I lived in all of them,
All of
and
them. Yeah.
I know all of them. But the thing is, even though I'm familiar with everybody, I grew up without a childhood friend because we never stayed nowhere for a long
Mm.
time. And at the time we started to settle down and figure it out, and my mom remarried, I was like in 10th, 11th grade. And by then it was kind of like, like, yo, I don't want to go through what I went through. I was one of them guys that would would go out in the heat and cut grass. They had lawnmowers which took gas, but I was out there trying to do the push lawnmower, the little blades that when you
Yeah.
push,
Yeah.
and then they get stuck, you got to shake it off again. I mean, I was out there chasing, man, and yeah, and when I would make money, when I would make money at a young age, I would go buy cereal, milk, oodles and noodles, eggs. Mary Jane Bakery is over there in Airline. And we would
Hmm.
walk from. We lived in Cavalier Manor Park. I would walk from Academy Park all the way down Greenwood Drive over the overpass to Mary Jane Bakery because in the late '80s, a dollar get you about 6, 7 cakes. A loaf of bread was what, six,
Yeah. Yeah.
seven
Yeah.
loaves for $1. And man, and we would make welfare cheese and ketchup pieces on toast, grilled cheese. Man, listen. No way, nobody can tell me that the Greene and the Gist family did not invent McDLTs because we was some non-meat sandwich eating. I'm talking about sliced cheese, tomatoes, relish or pickles, mayonnaise, mustard, ketchup. Sandwich be this thick and got near piece of meat up in there. And we
Mm.
got food. I mean, yeah, mustard sandwiches, mayonnaise sandwiches on toast. Like, listen, I think nobody cannot convince me that I didn't invent the toast, the buttered toast with hot jelly over top of it. You can't tell me I didn't invent that. I was like, fire, fire.
Yeah.
I invented
A,
this.
a lot
Yeah,
of
man, I'm
people
pretty
picked
sure.
up on it afterwards, though. A lot of people
Yeah,
picked
yeah.
up on that.
So that was my struggle, man. Like I spent a lot of days hungry, and I tell kids all the time, man, and a lot of adults can agree with me. Like, in the summertime was like the time we didn't. The summertime kind of we wasn't kids didn't spend a lot of time hungry when I grew up, especially if you was outdoors, drinking from the water
Yeah.
faucet and all that good stuff, the neighbor's water faucet, because
A lot of
we,
times the community fed you.
well, listen, I can even go more in depth. When we moved to Virginia, like this was, I mean, in the summertime, it was apple trees, peach
Yeah.
trees, pear
Everybody
trees,
had them. Yeah.
big trees. I mean, some people, some people grew strawberries in the yard, and when we got hungry, we would jump fences, or it was houses that people didn't even live in, but the trees still blossom, and we would take below bags and just and have crab apples or pears, and peaches, and sometimes you seen a little rotten spot on the peach or the pear, but we didn't throw it around. We just kind of bit into the rotten spot and spit it out, and the rest of it was good. And we
Yeah.
survived all summer. And you know what I mean? And when we got thirsty, you know what I mean, we drunk from people's water hose. Sometimes they had no trespassing signs, but we was kind of fast and athletic back then. So we would sneak and drink. Even if the dog was back there, we'd distract the dog while one person drink, because the dog would go here and go there. And you know what I mean? I tell you, man, there was rough times, but you know what? That's a life experience I wouldn't trade for the world. I mean, I wouldn't
Yeah,
trade for the world.
experience like that can shape you into to the person you are today. Those humble beginnings, you know, and
Yeah, yeah.
and like you said, all those different neighborhoods that probably made you pretty well rounded. That's why you can probably get along with anybody. You know,
Yeah, pretty
the
much.
personality you have. You just had to run into different people, different personalities, and you
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
adjust. You know,
yeah.
so it's really helping you now. So, and so is that why you learned to sort of give back? That's a passion of yours, of giving back to the communities. Because you know, you talk about now being hungry. It's nothing worse than a kid trying to go to school and learn on an empty stomach. There's
Well,
no way he can properly learn if he's hungry. And a lot of people try to say these kids are acting out for certain reasons. He might just be hungry, you know?
listen. I mean, it's just sometimes it's more than that, man.
Yeah.
Till till this day, a lot of young men are still being raised in single parent households,
Hmm.
and you know what I mean. Listen, I love my mama to death, and she may see this live, but the truth of the matter is that my mama always had a boyfriend. You know what I mean,
Hmm.
but the truth of the matter is that my mother that I love dearly, she was young, trying to figure it out like a lot of mamas out here. She had 5, 6 kids at home, but she didn't really spend a lot of time with us. She hung out in the street under her boyfriend, and made with whatever he was into. She adapted to that. You understand what I'm saying? So,
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I mean? Like, and I say this all the time, and you know what I mean, she may see this and she may start crying, but she know that my truth is my truth. I was really good in track. I was all right in basketball and decent in fat and football, but I was really good in track. And you know what I mean? I was one of the kids that didn't have parents. I didn't have parents or a stepdaddy and whoever my mama was with at the time. They never
mm,
came to my games. My mama don't know what a football or a basketball game or a track meet look with me in it. And I was a kid that needed a ride from practice. What I mean, I was a kid that needed to ride up to school to game, and I didn't get a ride. Most people know my story. I would run. I stayed in Prentice Park on Des Moines Avenue and Richmond Avenue, and I would
yeah,
run the crowd out because I didn't want to switch to Wilson. I was terrified of Wilson because Wilson, when I stayed downtown, so I can tell this story, but it's okay. Um, Wilson to me was the rough. It was the I mean, them kids, they hustled, they sold drugs. I mean, all them dudes wore black leathers like kids in like Nino and New Jack City. What I mean, they were just so mature and faster than I was. What I mean, I was in house. I stayed in the house. What I mean, my
so
sister had
this 80s or 90s, this
late
90s?
late 80s, 89,
Okay.
88, 91.
Yeah,
I mean, so
Wilson had changed a whole lot by then because I went there 1 year, but it was mostly white when I was there,
oh yeah,
and
that's a
it
long
was
time. So
nothing like that. Yeah,
yeah, so I asked my mom to keep me at crowd out where everybody knew who I was. You know what I mean? I wasn't popular with the women back then, but I was still popular with sports. And I would run from, it was no bus, so I would have to run from Des Moines Avenue or Richmond Avenue, because them the two places I stayed for in Prentice Park. And I would run up Portsmouth, run up to Portsmouth Boulevard, cut through the railroad tracks down Frederick, and um and up down George Washington crowd out next to the Burger King. And so at the time when time I got to school, I was always hungry. I mean,
mm,
so I mean, my childhood even though I love Craddock, like what I mean, if you ask me how was my childhood in Craddock, I mean, how was my high school years in Craddock? The only thing I remember in Craddock, what I mean, like I remember being hungry every day, and I couldn't even focus on school until lunchtime. After lunchtime, I was good. Like that
yeah,
was yeah, I'm talking about like I was always trying to survive to lunch. And sometimes I got lucky and You know what I mean? You know what I mean? My mom squeezed the 60 cent because 60 cent was the number I was looking for.
Right.
I can get a baked cookie for 25 cent and the big old glazed honey buns for 35 cent back then. And you know, I really didn't like honey buns back then, but I mean, the mathematics told me if I ate a big piece of sweets like this, I was gonna get full. So,
Yeah. And they
yeah, I
were
didn't know.
huge. They were
Huh?
huge back then.
It was huge, nothing like then. They didn't have the size now. Them honey buns back then was 8 ounces, 8, 10 ounces, man. But yeah, that was I didn't grow up just to get back on topic. I know I can stray a little bit. I didn't,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
okay.
I didn't have nobody to show me how to run track. I didn't have nobody to show me how to dribble a ball, how to shoot a ball, how to run perfect routes. No, I didn't have nobody to tell me how to do the things that a father or a mentor could do. I remember asking my mom. The coach said the coach. I wound up graduating from Wilson. The Wilson his name was Coach Bone. Shout out to Coach Bone. You know what I mean? So I remember Coach Bone said, "Look, I talked to the Norfolk State coach for you. Go get with your mama and go down there and talk to the coach about getting a scholarship." He said, "All you got to do is just long jump and triple jump. You don't got to do no running events." I said, "Okay." So I was so happy. Went home and told my mama, and she was like, I don't know what to do. She said, "What I'm supposed to do?" She says, "Go down there and talk to him." You know what I mean? Like she said, "I don't know." She said, "What I'm supposed to do?" And I never went because I didn't know how to go to college and sign up myself. I just wasn't privileged to have information. So, you know what I mean? Just situations of how I grew up instead of me dwelling on it and having nervous breakdowns and finding myself on crack and heroin and all the drugs that was back then, I I became mentally strong from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it ignited a fire in me all the way to the point now that when I see kids, when I see young women, I always think back what it's like to not have a father, what it's like to not have a mentor, what is like to want to play basketball, but you can't afford the basketball shoes.
Mhm.
Just more to relate to now. You want to play basketball or football or wrestle or run track, but your parent don't got the time or the money just to go take you to get a $25-$30 physical. And so, I kick in. I don't just kick in just financially. If they're going through that, it's not just a financial problem. It becomes a mental problem. So, you know what I
Indeed.
mean? I spend a lot of time around Norcom because I'm absorbing kids' energy, and I take them and I pull them to the side. I talk to them, ask if they need help. And then sometimes, I mean, on a private note, I would never put nobody out there. It's been times I help parents of students that go to Norcom. I mean, it's been times I help pay some bills and put some food on the table because I get it. Life is a struggle. So this is why I give back, because I understand what it's like. It's not even about the material things, or what I mean. Sometimes it's about having a man, a leader, a teacher, a guide, or a protector myself. That what I mean, to pull the kid to the side and what I mean, and like just say, "Hey man, you're doing pretty good. I like what you're doing." And then I
Mhm.
talk to all the kids different because I'm watching them. Some kids I gotta say, "Hey young man, you're looking pretty good out there. Keep your head up, working your form, and what I mean, make sure you come to practice and don't." You know what I mean? Then I'm looking at the other kids and I'm like, "Come here, little nigga.
Yeah.
Who they you?"
Yeah.
I mean,
You
get
got
with you
to
in the
know
back.
them.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I gotta give
You got to
everybody
know what
different
works.
energy.
Got to know what works for
I
people.
got, yeah, and it works, you know what I mean? And I was and sometimes I don't know it's working. They just say yes, sir. And I be hearing these are kids vaping. These are kids that might have access or might be at high risk gang activity because the neighborhood they live in. And you get privy to certain stuff and you pull up on and let them know like you're doing good. Keep your head up in there. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. My son Major, man, he makes everything so easy for me now because all the kids know in Norcom High School, male and female, that Germain Geene, well, they call me Coach Greene. Or they call me
Hmm.
Coach. Everybody calls me Coach in Norcom. So that I kind of like that because nobody never called me that before. They say,
Hmm.
Coach or Coach Greene, he the one got made, Major Greene, daddy got him right. Major Greene, daddy got him strong. You know what I mean? Jermaine work out with his daddy. So when I talk to kids now and I pull them to the side and hey, keep your knees up and keep your form up. You know what I mean? You know,
They
they
respect
listen
you.
and
They
it's got a
respect you. They
different energy.
listen to
It's
you.
more like they listen to me at first, but now it's more attentive. But now they come to me and ask me, and that's a good feeling. It's and be honest with you, man, it's kind of like doing my lives and I hold people attention. It's kind of like the same thing, except the lives was more about me being able to feed my family, so I had to perform. But you know what I mean, when I'm working with the kids and thinking about what I went to, and then trying to identify their body language, you know what I mean, their body language and the attitude and how they reflecting, how they dressing, you know what I mean, what they wearing, what their hair look like, what their shoes. Do they got the newest shoes like their peers? I look at all that stuff and it creates an angle for me to how to approach them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
yeah, I like what I do and I like giving back in that aspect. You know what I mean?
and let me ask you this because I'm glad you told that story because it's a lot of kids going through that now. And when the city or people talk about crime, you hear them talking about crime and and what needs to be done to help solve that and different approaches and everything. And I know sometimes you cringe because you say, man, y'all missing the whole point because
Mm.
it starts working with these kids at home. You got to know what they're dealing with in their household when they come
Yeah,
out and you see them acting out. A lot of time is reason for that. They're
yeah,
not
of
going to come
course.
out and tell you we don't have any food or I have to wear my brother's clothes or things like that. So
Yeah,
it's you got to include that thing. I think they starting to see that now, but you remember a few years back when people were talking about crime, they were just ignoring the poverty issues, and that might create some of the people to act out like they do, or some of the kids act out. And it's a whole lot different these days, probably when you were growing up. You know, they might, some of them look at you as an OG, but it's different from those times when you were back there.
yeah,
Guys
no
don't want
question.
to duke it out or they don't want to talk it out, you know.
Yeah.
So how do you, I mean, do you get the people's ear that need to be listening? When you're talking like this and telling them where some of their focus should be, because I think it's so important. Sometimes we miss the boat when we try to deal with crime. We look at everything else except but some of the root problems.
Well, I mean, some you gonna have they have this thing that I learned a while back. When you talking to people, it doesn't matter if it's a child or adult. You got a thing called an open mind and a closed mind. It's kind of self-explanatory. A
Mm,
closed mind is somebody that won't let no information come in. They won't let no good advice. I mean, they won't let the good word. They won't let a helping hand come in because their mind is one track. You know what I mean? An open mind is somebody that's open to advice. They're open to other options. You know what I mean? They're open to trying something new. They're open to something to being different and trying something different. And so therefore, don't you know what I mean? Like everybody is not going to receive my energy. You know what I mean? Yeah,
mm.
some people out here can't stand me. You know what I mean? But I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. You know what I
Because you're
mean?
a truth teller.
Yeah, and some people don't like that. I come off as cocky, arrogant. You know what I mean? Some people miss the old passive Jermaine, the gullible
Mm,
Jermaine, the green Jermaine. That Jermaine gone. I mean, you know what I mean? The Jermaine here, you know what I mean? He learned from his mistakes. He learned from other people, you know what I mean? Read a lot, learned a lot, grew a lot mentally, spiritually. So, you know what I mean? I'm at a time in life, look, I don't have time to bullshit. I don't have time to let you bullshit me. You know what I mean?
mhm,
I'm gonna give it to you like it is, and some people don't like that. Some people don't like the truth hurts, and some people don't. The truth hurts people's ears and disturbs spirits. You know what I mean? So when I go live and I'm spitting truth, it's always going to be 15 to 20 people out of 100 that can't stand me. Don't like, you know what I mean? I don't, he don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, he used to do this, and yeah. I mean, yeah, it's all. Listen, life just work like that. But guess what? You know what I mean? I really, you know what I mean? I really don't care. You know what I mean? I don't beat to nobody drum. I never. I never was the guy that was fitting in. I was the guy that was standing out. You know what I mean? And this is what I try to pass on to my kids, to his friends, and to his peers. You know what I mean? People that stand out go farther. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And I understand exactly, and it shows because I can see the respect that those guys have for you, because even the basketball, you got son on the basketball team, you got son on the football team, and your daughter runs track. Am I?
No, no, she played basketball. She's in middle school, but she
Oh,
played
okay.
she played JV basketball this year.
Okay, so she's up and coming. So, everybody that one of your kids are on the team with you taking that whole team,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
as,
yeah,
as like a
yeah,
father thing, like probably
yeah,
some other parents probably do the same thing. But
yeah.
that's
This
important.
year, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's no, I was saying that's important, and it's a good thing you do that. That's because, like you said, some of them are hard hits, some of them you're not going to get to, some of them you will get to, but you don't know until you try,
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
got to
Yeah,
give everybody a benefit of doubt because they are future, man. We got to make sure. Let's talk about now, and I see my brother watching, and he reminds me of you a little bit because both of us were raised completely different. He
you had a
was
brother
like a
handsome
kind of
like
a
me.
downtown, huh?
Oh, you had a brother handsome like me.
Yeah, yeah. If you tell him, let him tell it. He's the most handsome guy in the world. Ain't that right, Ron? But we were brought up completely different. I was more of a privilege, being adopted into a different family, and he grew up in the streets pretty much. But he's one of the most successful guys around, living in Pittsburgh now, Harrisonburg, Pittsburgh. But he had that same kind of life coming up. But it was people in his life, like yourself, that came into his life and sort of helped him get on the straight and narrow. Like Mr. Nixon. You don't know these people, these guys from way back that were part of the recreation system that were really like fathers to a lot of these guys. I want to get into, with you and the different things that you had done as far as promotions, doing what got you into that, like the 420ish,
The 420s.
the 420ish, and that turned out to be pretty successful. But you had some people. I saw one of your videos and I remember seeing it originally when you were kind of complaining about how the city, kind of came behind you and did something that sort of didn't knock your event off, but it could have been bigger if they hadn't have done something like 2 weeks before, you know,
Yeah,
giving a
actually,
lot of money
it
to
was three
somebody
days.
else to.
It was 3 days before.
Yeah, yeah, the carnival, I mean, cannabis festival or something like that.
Yeah, cannabis, something. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I
The
mean,
cannabis summit.
yeah, and what I
Cannabis summit.
appreciated about you then, you really wanted to keep the thing in Portsmouth. That's why you wanted to involve the city,
Yeah,
and and you brought some people to Portsmouth. Like was Fat Joe was one of them.
yeah.
You
Fat
brought
Joe.
some names in here that probably wouldn't even didn't know where Portsmouth was,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think you got kind of frustrated afterwards, because it was supposed to be an annual thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So what happened? Because I saw it as something. I mean, the people that lived in the neighborhoods benefited by charging for parking in their yard. I mean, it was a win-win for a lot of people. You know, so I mean, well, first, how did you get into that kind of thing, and
yeah, yeah.
what discouraged you from continuing on? I know
Well,
sometimes money is involved.
yeah. Well, I ended up partnering with a guy in Atlanta during COVID, and we would do these things called parking lot festivals because you remember, like, they wouldn't let you. Uh, they wouldn't let you get but a certain amount of feet. You couldn't have but so many people inside a club or a restaurant. You remember that?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, six. I mean, like, yeah, you couldn't be in a restaurant and without these certain amount of people and close to you. You had to 6 feet, and
6 feet,
that,
6 feet
yeah.
away.
So they came up with an idea called parking lot festivals.
Mm-hmm.
And the festival, I mean, parking lot concerts, and basically they were selling parking spots. And no matter how many people was in your car, I mean, long as you just paid for the truck, not the people. So, I mean, if you were smart, you would pull up in a minivan or a pickup truck because you can get 10, 12 people in there. And then it would allow you to put your lawn chairs outside and, you know what I mean, and be able to sit, whatever. So anyways, I would go to Atlanta and look at, and because obviously I was a small investor in it, I would go to Atlanta and I would, you know what I mean, just observe. And I'm looking the whole setup, the perimeter, how it's ran, ticket sales, staging, tent, you know what I mean? And yeah, you know, I looked at it and said, yo, I can do this and I can do this better because this is where my mind is at. I'm absorbing, and I was a student of how to even organize it. I took what they did and just looked at some things they could have did better and said, you know what? I can do this here. So fast forward a couple of years after, I mean, COVID was over and I wanted to do something. You know, I wanted to do something. When I started looking into festivals, I understood how festivals can uplift the city like Portsmouth. Because that's what happened with Coachella. Coachella's in the middle of nowhere. Now Coachella is an annual thing in California. Now they got all these houses coming up. They didn't build the whole city around Coachella that was in the middle of nowhere. So, you know, so I did a little research and said, hey, I think I can pull this off in Portsmouth. So I started looking for locations, and I seen the one in Portsmouth Boulevard, and I went to a surveyor and paid him to survey the property and nearby property for parking and all that good stuff. And he was like, yeah, you can get 40,000 people just on the grass, and right there with the venue, you can get another 12 to 13,000 people. Depends on how much space the vendors take up. And I was like, hey, this is a spot, because I'm comparing it to what Pharrell was doing it, because Pharrell had 30, 40,000 people. And I said, man, Pharrell done his little thing, and then he won't coming back. And I said, hey, this would be a nice fill in the blank. But
Yeah.
lo and behold, tell you the couple of obstacles that I ran through, I realized that, man, in the 757 area, like we cling to this is not a celebrity town, and we cling to names. You know what I mean? Anything a celebrity is doing around here, people come out and support. They come out and support name brands. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, a guy like me that's not well known. You know what I mean? Not branded as a celebrity or an actor. You know what I mean? Or um, a musician or a producer like Pharrell. I mean, it's like, nah, I ain't going to that. It ain't gonna be nothing. It ain't no Pharrell. Ain't
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
had some
so
doubters. You had some
yeah,
doubters.
yeah, yeah. So you know, what I mean, one of the obstacles I had. I mean, I had quite a few. It was that festival was the perfect put together festival. That was one of my biggest accomplishments, to organize something like that at a magnitude of $2.5 million. And it was done to the T. But my obstacles that I ran across, just to start off, is that one is that um, we'll start right here in Portsmouth. People, people for better or worse, and I ain't going to his stuff. I don't like him. I ain't trying to put no money in his pocket. Oh, he trying to get rich off Portsmouth. They didn't understand the big picture,
Mm-hmm.
that it wasn't a Portsmouth thing. This was supposed to be a national thing. Festivals is a national thing. People fly all over the country to come to your city, and the fact that the beach was only 15 minutes away was a good marketing tool, because people was already familiar with the area because they had went to something in the water, and then it was gone because of Pharrell's cousin getting killed. So
Yeah.
people was doubting it. Then people started comparing it to the Fire Festival, saying it was a fraud. No way, no way a guy like that and nobody in Portsmouth got money like that to even bring these people. This is a fraud. Don't buy no tickets. These people ain't coming. Then you had guys, yo, then you had guys affiliated with a radio station, or that was affiliated that had some kind of reach to certain artists I was booking, and they was telling people at the radio station, they was having barbershop conversations saying, I talked to such and such artists, and they talked to this artist. They said they ain't coming, don't know nothing about it. And see,
Yeah.
negativity
I
spreads
remember
like
hearing
wow.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
so
hearing that.
negativity spreads like wildfire. You know what I mean? And then I can go on. We got more. That's just part of it. The other thing was violence. Somebody, you know what I mean, they was talking about this street war and how it was going to be a bloodbath. No, this is City of Portsmouth talking, and City of Portsmouth was social media. We're talking about the social media Portsmouth, not the actual city. We'll get to them in a minute.
Right,
But
right.
social media Portsmouth was putting it's a war zone. That's not a good idea. People gonna get killed, yada yada yada. And when they done that, we wound up spending $160,000, $170,000 in security. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just what it is. But the thing
Yeah.
is, the fear was already there. The fear spread it to the news. You know what I mean? So that was one thing. So then to go to the news aspect, you know what I mean? We spent money with all the channels, but mainly Channel 10. Channel 10 goddamn just took the whole thing and bent us over because they was using words like fear. They was using words like fears and concerns and doubtful and skeptics, and all of this when it go to the City of Portsmouth, what you brought up was one about our permit. We didn't have a
Yeah,
permit,
yeah.
which is
That was a
true. We
big.
didn't have a permit, so you had people saying, "I ain't buying no ticket. They ain't got no permit. This festival ain't gonna happen." He booking a festival with no permit, not knowing that we went through the same steps as Rivers Casino. We had to follow each step, and they check off the step, and at the end of all these steps, which was a day or 2 days before the festival, they gave us a permit. They gave us a permit. But people weren't looking like that. And the city didn't tell them like, yo, they're following the proper steps. They're doing the protocol. They wasn't afforded a permit right off the gate. And it was totally understandable. You know why, James? Because nobody didn't know nothing. They knew who Germain Geene was, but they didn't know Germain Geene could pull off a major festival. Much less organize it down to the T. So they
Mhm.
wanted to see everything to make sure because the City of Portsmouth name was on the line. He's still outside? Okay, I'll pay him later. Yeah, had a good
Yeah,
workout? Good.
and I think there
So
was some other name brands that were scheduled to come, but
listen, I'm
some of
about to
that
get to
mess.
that too.
Go
Yeah, I'm about to
ahead,
get
go
to
ahead.
that too. I'm just telling you why the perfect storm. So
Yeah,
the other thing was basically the most disrespectful and blatant thing of all is that the city was Parks and Recreation guy now by the name of Mark Palmerchuk. Everybody probably knows who he is.
yeah.
I don't care for him too much. And then at the time, the city manager who didn't know nothing, she was new, so she was listening to Mark Palmerchuk. I mean, they put together all these steps that we were just talking about getting a permit. We had to jumping through all these crazy hoops,
Yeah.
spending all this crazy money. They didn't want to sponsor us, so since they wasn't sponsoring the event, I mean, it cost us a lot more thousands of dollars, and is what it was. So he knew that we was going through all these things. He knew some of the artists we have, and he turned around and I forgot the guy's name. It's not his fault. He didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he went to Mark Palmerchuk and told him he was in the office of Pharrell, and we want to do the cannabis summit. We got the mayor from Norfolk coming. We got a what's the thing called? We got what's the boy with Jay-Z? What's his name? From Rock Nation. What's Dame Dash? We got Dame
Oh
Dash
yeah.
coming,
Okay.
and we want to do a concert. We want to do a free concert, and yeah, so this is what we want to do. And Mark Palmerchuk seen this big event I was putting on for the city.
Hmm.
I didn't get no help. He let this guy came in from Norfolk, kicked some big names around. They gave this man $125,000 to do his event. Now, mind you, this event was 3 days before mine. He brought in 3 6 Mafia and Kevin Gates. And on top of that, they got the pavilion for free.
Wow.
And they weren't supposed to charge, but they charged anyway. I'm not mad. I mean, homeboy hit a home run. I mean, yeah, he got over on Mark in the city of Portsmouth. Now I'm right here in the city of Portsmouth trying to build something that the city of Portsmouth can prosper on. You know what I mean? Events like this, it bring businesses. I mean, increase the value in Brighton, Prentice Park, and Truxton. I mean, this is something. I mean, this was a big piece of meat. You know what I mean? And everybody could ate off of this in the city of Portsmouth to the bone. So you know, he gave this guy's event, and what it did, even though my event was way better, you can see people on social media choosing. And to the point that they was talking bad about, man, I ain't messing with him. I'm gonna go down Portsmouth and I'm gonna mess with the other one because it's closer and they're gonna have real security there. And all these people probably gonna show it caused it. I didn't knock the event. You know what I mean? I was upset that they gave him money for that event and didn't help me with mine. But I also was mad that you made it so close to mine and had you call it divisiveness right here in the city. You know what I mean? So that was one of the other issues. You know what I mean? And of course, the main issue, which I didn't look at it like that, but when you start looking at ticket sales, the event was a success. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rick Ross manager, Trina manager, City Girls manager, all of them say the same thing. Shaggy, they all say the same thing. Say, hey, you know what I mean? Because we were taught way before the festival. You know, we built relations way before the festival. He said, man, it's a good thing you're doing, man. He said, he said, if you break even, it's probably good. That's the first time I realized I probably won't make no money. He said, if you break even on the first one, that's good. He said, nobody makes money your first festival because the country never heard of you. Don't know about you. I mean, you can probably survive off the locals and you know what I mean, and just to get you past the first year. But you know what
But
I mean,
they were
festivals,
legends.
huh?
They were legends that were
Yeah,
performing there.
yeah,
Shaggy? Come on,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
I
Shaggy.
mean,
Well,
and one thing I was hoping it would be successful because, you know, it would be an annual thing, and then it might spark some other festivals with the music I like jazz. They have some kind of jazz thing going on.
well,
So
let me.
when you didn't get that support that I thought you should have got, I thought it was, I thought we missed another opportunity in Portsmouth like we do so
So,
often.
so listen, I can go in detail. So even though the festival was a success, I mean, far as like putting it on, artists coming, people letting them know that the 420ish is open for business, and we're gonna be every year. You know what I mean? When we start looking at the analytics, you know what I mean. This is why you know what I mean. I kind of take it personal. The Senator Lucas. Well,
You had big
first of
sponsors
all,
too.
I got to say that because Senator Lucas, the festival don't even exist without Senator Lucas. I mean,
Hmm.
she made up 60% of the uh the actual cost of the festival. I put in 20%. Danny Meeks put in 20%. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So
And
she
the
does
city
it.
could have put in 100%.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, they didn't. It was a lot of violence at the time. You know what I mean? Somebody had just got shot and killed right there at the Sportsplex about
Yeah.
3 or 4 weeks earlier. And the
Hmm.
city didn't want an embarrassment. So they wanted to support me, but they didn't know how. But if they wanted to support me, they could have. And I get it. Even not giving the money, we talking about the city of Portsmouth downtown. But the issue that me and the senator had is that like we didn't make our money back. And we was willing to accept that because we knew next year when the festival came back and the whole world knew that we was legit. And I mean, artists got their money a month in advance. I mean, like it was going to be a party. But when we seen the analytics and we seen that Portsmouth only made a 2.3 or 2.8% of ticket sales with all them discounts I gave them, it was a slap in the face. And it became
Hmm.
a slap in the face because according to drone count, we had 48 to 5,200 people hanging outside doing
Hmm.
their own thing. Man, mind you, these are the same people that said, fuck Jermaine, we ain't
Hmm.
supporting that festival. These are the same people that saying, yo, we ain't going out there. It's gonna be a bloodbath. Them gangs gonna shoot that stuff up. I mean, we had 5,000 people from the city of Portsmouth go right out there and set up shop. They either hung outside, cooked their food, and it's a beautiful thing. But when you look at the numbers, like damn, all the support we needed from Portsmouth was outside. Now, I'll say this, and the senator can attest to this. Had we had that crowd outside, inside the fence, just for that
Hmm.
1 year, the festival goes on every year.
Yeah, because
Had
it would
we
have brought
had
the
the city
crowd.
of Portsmouth, the same people that doubted us, and we had them 5,000 people outside that hung outside and set up shop inside the fence. Listen, the festival would be going in it because it would have showed that Portsmouth came out in support. Because mind you, at the time, I couldn't even tell people that the Senator Lucas was the primary investor in the fort. We couldn't, because she was catching so much backlash from the statues, this money getting sued, and I was trying to get white folks and black folks at this festival. I was trying to get white folks and black. I was trying to get acts that appeased to both demographics,
Yeah,
and I really
and
couldn't.
you had to ask that most both sides liked.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
you had to ask there.
yeah, so the thing is, I had to keep the senator name out of it because like she was catching a lot of backlash, and we wanted all of Portsmouth to support, not just FDA, which foundational FBA Foundation of Black America.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't want to make it a black thing. We wanted to make it a city thing. But the problem why I couldn't like get like a lot of Caucasian acts, country, rock and roll, pop, is because we couldn't afford them. I mean, we was trying to get not Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga.
But
And
you
matter
got
of
to
fact,
build yourself. You got to build
yeah, we
yourself up to that.
listen. We no. Here's the thing. We actually had Lady Gaga.
Oh, did you? Oh,
We had her. She was $1 million. So we would have had Lady Gaga on Sunday versus the whole reggae act. The reggae act wouldn't exist had Lady Gaga came. And the
yeah.
reason why she didn't come because we wasn't a brand name festival. And she didn't want to put her, the guy's a real popular guy, the DJ or manager. I forgot his name, but he went up calling me. At the time I knew his name, but he's real popular, the guy that manages her. He called me back. I called Danny. I called Senator Lucas because we was trying to get Snoop, and he bullshitted me. Just keep it real. Him and
Mm.
his manager Bobby D. I mean, so I said, I called, got Lady Gaga's manager on the phone, and I said, I said, listen, Portsmouth is about to blow up. We got Lady Gaga. This man called me back 30 minutes, and Lady Gaga said she don't want to do it. She didn't want to do it because she never heard of my festival. She didn't know. She didn't want to do a festival that nobody never heard of, and something happened to it, or people didn't came out and it messed her brand up. So I had to call Danny Meeks back and said we don't got Lady Gaga. She bailed out, but we would have got Lady Gaga just for Sunday all by herself, and we're opening acts. I mean, yeah, so it was looking good. Had we got Snoop, I thought. I mean, Rick Ross and City Girls. I didn't plan on getting none of them. Everything was supposed to be built around Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube, but Snoop Dogg just honestly, I think Pharrell just kind of like, yo, don't do it. I mean, that's my competition. Pharrell looked at me as competition, to my understanding. That's what I heard. And I was like, my broke ass ain't no Pharrell competition. I ain't got no money. I'm just a guy that's trying to, I'm just a
How
guy
could
that's
you
trying to
be?
elevate this
How could
city.
Portsmouth be competition to the beach?
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, so this is why the festival didn't come back, not because we didn't make a ton of money or we didn't get our money back. We didn't come back because the city of Portsmouth showed that for better or less, they didn't fuck with us.
Mm.
I mean, people hated the senator. People ain't like me. And I'm telling you, like, man, it's easy to convince. You get negativity. One negative person can say something negative on social media, and 200-300 people follow behind it and agree with it because a lot of people don't have their own voice. And when you get a lot of that, I mean, we just had the perfect storm. The city, the news kept reporting on a permit. People kept saying the artists won't show on. The festival was fake. What I mean? The city sponsoring another concert 3 days before mine. What I mean? People not wanting to support me because they worry about me getting rich and making money. It was just a perfect storm all in one. And to this day, I think about what my good friend Danny Meeks told me. He said, had we took it to Chesapeake to the Jubilee or down the beach where Pharrell Dunn is at, we still would be doing it every year. Portsmouth would not get the recognition for it, but from a business aspect, it would have still been alive
That would have been the best move. But
because
I can understand why
yeah,
you wanted and Senator Lucas and everybody wanted it here, to sort of create something here in the city of Portsmouth that was positive and that could be an annual thing that could benefit everybody. I mean,
yeah,
think about the off revenue that could come from that.
see
That's why, we have to
people
start thinking
yeah, people don't
out
have
of the
that kind of
box.
financial, they don't have that financial vision, so they can't see. They just seen a guy they knew that grew up in their hood trying to make money, and it was bigger than money. I could have took this festival to the beach, to Hampton, to Richmond, to
Mhm.
Atlanta, you know what I mean, to Indiana, and we could have hit a home run. I'm talking about we could have hit a home run, but for me, Portsmouth was known for nothing but violence.
Mhm.
That's they
And
known for
this
nothing
is
but
an
violence.
opportunity to
Yeah,
change that narrative, control
and
the
that's what it was
narrative.
all about. And then
Mhm.
on top of that, listen, I know I should be saying this, but the festival is long gone. You know what I mean? For all them people like, why is it 420 and you can't smoke weed? Hell, they smoke the hell out of weed.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
listen,
you
yeah,
won't gonna
smoke that.
stop that.
Yeah, well, listen, yeah, I had about 70 or 80 weed vendors, but I wasn't allowed to publicize it. When I
Right, right.
publicized it, that became the issue, and I should have known better. But you know
Mhm.
what I mean? You know what I mean? So yeah, so people like, why would I go to a 420 festival? Man, listen, that place was lit up. Everybody was kumbaya, they had tents and blankets, you know what I mean? And and I told, I mean, listen, I told the city manager at the time, I said, listen, I've never heard nobody smoke a blunt like, hey, pass my blunt. I'm about to go F this dude up. I don't like him. People smoke weed
Yeah.
and everything's all love. Nobody fight after smoking weed
Oh man,
or
you
eating
look,
edibles.
you're talking to somebody from the '70s, and the
Yeah,
'70s, and weed was illegal as hell. But
yeah,
everywhere I went, it was open season for it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
most people won't tell you that of my age now, but yeah, I was in
Yeah,
there.
and listen. Yeah, and
It was
listen,
the
I know you
'70s.
got a few years older than me, but I remember the little manila envelopes. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I don't tell people that. But one time I bought some tea, but that was just the boy got over on me. But anyway,
uh-huh. Yeah.
true confessions. But look, I won't hold you any longer. I hope we can do this again because it's a lot more you want to talk about. I just wanted to cover some of those things. I definitely wanted to get, your motivation, and I know you talked about that in your videos. What's up? Get him on
Man,
camera.
he's forcing me to stop talking and go walk him.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, it's
he's
it's
really
his
taking
time now. It's
yeah,
his
he's really
time now.
yeah, he's throwing my arm up saying, let's go.
Yeah. And you got to pay attention, bro. But look, I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on and having this conversation and keep on doing what you're doing and come back again. We'll set up something again and we'll talk about some other things. We got to
Yeah,
get into
whatever. Yeah, yeah,
politics.
yeah. That's the we look like we ran out of time because I was kind of thought we was gearing towards that, but it's all good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah,
we can start out with that next time. But I knew that you were going to be detailed, and that's what I expected out of you, and that's what I
yeah,
wanted,
yeah.
to share the details. So we get into it next time, brother. Thanks. I appreciate you, and take
No,
care.
thank you, man.
And
Thanks for having me.
thanks, man, and thanks for taking the time. And thanks everybody for watching. And remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. And make sure if you watch it on YouTube, make sure you subscribe because I'm trying to build this channel. But anyway, we appreciate you and we'll see you next time on the Slim Nation One-on-Ones podcast. And you were listening to Germain Geene, the man about town, the man that gets it done. Thanks again, man.
It's time for us to sit down at the table and turn this chaos into something stable. For love, one on one. We will not accept defeat, not on our land, not in our streets. Getting it done. Reaching out to save the youth, letting them